Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. I'm your host, Bob Powell, and it's a bit nippy up here. It's like 9 degrees in the Great White North. You know, we live right here on the 45th parallel, halfway between the equator and the North Pole, and it's chilly. Hey, check it out. According to Todd Starnes at Fox News, Secretary of the Army John McHugh directed that Army leaders cease all briefings, command presentations, or training on the subject of extremist organizations or activities. Apparently, after a series of briefings that had identified Catholics and evangelical Christians as possible terror threats, there was a bit of a backlash. And for once, somebody in a position of authority stood up for Christians, and his name is Secretary of the Army John McHugh. And but you know, Christianity is under attack all over the world. In Egypt, over 60 Christian churches have been burned. In Syria, entire Christian villages are being wiped out, and the inhabitants are being killed in the most horrific ways. Little girls literally having their arms chopped off, being forced to watch as their parents are beheaded rather than reject Christ. That's the kind of battle we're going to be facing at some point right here in the United States. They just put up a satanic monument next to the Ten Commandments out in, I can't remember where it was. But, I mean, come on. You know, so over the next half hour, I'm going to be covering a lot of this, and it's just going to make you sick.
Places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Keep this frequency clear.
And now it's conspiracy. See, they've made that something that should not be even entertained for a minute. That powerful people might get together and have a plan. Doesn't happen. You're a kook. You're a conspiracy buff.
You're watching The Truth is Viral, the only news program on the internet trusted to deliver the truth since 2008. And now, here's your host, Mr. Bobby Powell.
We've got a really exciting show for you tonight. You know, God has always, been there for me. Always stepped in when I needed him most. And this is no exception. Because what happened was last week, after I released the episode that talked about how my wife had been denied her Medicaid, we got a phone call from somebody that works with the Michigan Department of Human Services. And this woman, I'll tell you, she told me a story, and I'll give you a little brief hint of it right now. We'll get to her interview in just a minute. But what she told me, basically, in a nutshell, was that employees at the Michigan Department of Social Services play this game. And this game consists of them getting brownie points when they deny people benefits to which they would otherwise be entitled. And these brownie points can be redeemed later for pay raises and promotions. How about that for sick? They're playing with people's lives. I mean, literally playing a game with people's lives, trading benefits that people depend on to live for brownie points. Bunch of sick bastards. But first, I want to thank a man that I really look up to. His name is Steve Quayle, and he does a lot of the same thing that I do, only he's much more religious. And Steve is a fierce warrior for God, and he found out about our situation, and he had one of his intercessors call my wife and I. And she spent 20 minutes on the phone with us. Well, Steve prayed with us first, and then he had one of his intercessors call us, and that sweet lady, Romy, prayed with us for over 20 minutes, and it was the most awesome 20 minutes. She just absolutely bound the devil, and my wife is going to be fine. I know it. And so I got that out of the way. I needed to thank him. I've been wanting to do it for the last couple of days, but this has really been my first opportunity, and I'm glad that I was able to do it. So first, what we're going to look at tonight is the attack on Christianity that is being perpetrated on us by the White House. Okay, people are saying, well, Barack Obama's not a Muslim. I don't know what Barack Obama is, but looky here. Okay, Obama's call to close the Vatican embassy is a slap in the face to Roman Catholics. It's not just a slap in the face to Roman Catholics. It's a slap in the face to Christians in general. And it doesn't stop there. Lawsuit. This comes from Todd Starnes at Fox News. Chaplains banned from saying Jesus when they pray. Isn't that what chaplains do? Isn't that their purpose? I mean, come on. It says two Baptist chaplains said that they were forced out of a Veterans Affairs chaplain training program after they refused orders to stop quoting the Bible and to stop praying in the name of Jesus. When the men objected to those demands, they were subjected to ridicule and harassment that led to one of the chaplains leaving the program and the other one being ejected, according to a federal lawsuit filed Friday. The Conservative Baptist Association of America is suing Veterans of Affairs Secretary of Veterans Affairs Eric Shinseki, alleging that two of their chaplains were openly ridiculed by the leader of San Diego-based VA DoD Clinical Pastoral Education Center program. Boy, that was a mouthful. Not only was the treatment these men received inappropriate, said John Wells, it was also a violation of the federal law and the religious freedom guarantees of the First Amendment. Now, John Wells is an attorney representing that Colorado-based denomination. No American choosing to serve in the armed forces should be openly ridiculed for his Christian faith, he said, calling it one of the most blatant cases of religious discrimination that he's ever seen. Lieutenant Commander Dan Kinder, a Navy chaplain, and Major Stephen Furtko, retired Army chaplain, had enrolled in the VA's Clinical Pastoral Education Center program in San Diego last year. The one-year training program is required for anyone wanting to work as a chaplain in a VA hospital. VA chaplains differ from other military chaplains in that they are limited to working in VA hospitals. The program, that has affiliates around the nation, is open to chaplains of all religious faith. However, applicants must have completed master-level seminary work. Okay, so now these guys know what they're talking about. Okay, they've got master's degrees in divinity. Okay, and there is no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole. Let me tell you something. When bullets are flying, I've never been in combat, but I can just imagine from the stories that I've heard and the things that I've seen. But when bullets are flying, or when you're in your home, okay, first thing you're going to do is call on God for help. And until he gets there, you're going to be shooting something. Okay, there were a lot of chaplains that were in this program. It was led by a woman by the name of Nancy Deach. It says in this article that she's got a history of antagonistic behavior towards evangelical Christians. Apparently, she doesn't have a problem with any other faith. See, I read this a little bit earlier. Oh yeah, here it goes. She's been very critical of Christians, Wells said in a telephone interview. Instead of teaching anything dealing with faith issues, she's dealing with a holistic, humanistic approach. It's the idea that the Spirit comes from within. Yeah. I got news for this woman. When men are on the battlefield dying, and they're calling out for God, they're not calling out for an oak tree. They're not calling out for herbs and berries. They're calling out the name of Jesus Christ. They're saying, Lord, help me. And they want somebody there who represents their God. Now, up until now, chaplains have been multi-faith. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you're a Muslim, a Jew, or a Christian, because basically all three of those faiths claim the God of Abraham as their founding deity. So, what's the problem with this, with Christianity? And it doesn't stop there. Obama just issued his, issued, yeah, he issued it, all right, his proclamation for Christmas. Let me blow your mind. You know what Obama said about Christmas? It's a message both timeless and universal, no matter what God you pray to or if you pray to none at all. Excuse me? This isn't Kwanzaa, Barack. We're not talking about Hanukkah here. And we're not talking about whatever holiday the spaghetti monster celebrates. We're talking about Christmas. If you're going to issue a Christmas message, it should be about Christmas, don't you think? I wouldn't subject you to listening to Barack Obama speak, so I'll say it. Maybe I can deliver that message for him, but by not hearing his voice, you won't vomit. I try to keep projectile vomiting to a minimum on this show. And this is what Barack Obama said. This is from a White House transcript of the president's remarks. For 91 years, the National Christmas Tree has stood as a beacon of light and a promise during the holiday season. During times of peace and prosperity, challenge and change, Americans have gathered around our national tree to kick off the holiday season and give thanks for everything that makes this time of year so magical, spending time with friends and family and spreading tidings of peace and goodwill here at home and around the world. And this year, we give a special measure of gratitude for Nelson Mandela, a man who championed that generosity of spirit. Applause, applause, applause. In his life, he blessed us with tremendous grace and unbelievable courage, and we are all privileged to live in a world touched by his goodness. Really? I grew up. The first news I remember seeing came out of South Africa. I think one of the first people I ever saw die was a man that had a gasoline-soaked tire wrapped around his neck and his upper shoulders, lit on fire, and that's how he was killed. Let's take a quick wiki search on the word necklacing. And it says, necklacing is the practice of summary execution and torture carried out by forcing a rubber tire filled with petrol around a victim's chest and arms, setting it on fire. The victim may take up to 20 minutes to die, suffering severe burns in the process. Now, if you care to, you can Google images of necklacing. You won't find a single picture of Nelson Mandela, though, because I have been over the internet the last couple of days since he died, and almost all reference to his activities before he got out of jail has been scrubbed. If you didn't live that part of history, you won't remember that Nelson Mandela was the leader of the African National Congress. Now, what did the African National Congress do? Well, they did a lot of stuff, but particularly the group that I want to speak to, a group within the African National Congress, if I can say this correctly, is Umkhonto we Sizwe, something like that. Spear of the Nation is what it translates to. And this was an organization that was founded by Nelson Mandela. And they are responsible for hundreds and hundreds of terrorist attacks in South Africa. You know, Nelson Mandela spent 30 years in prison for a reason. He was found guilty, actually pled guilty to over 185 separate acts of terrorism. And I've got it right down here somewhere. Oh yeah, don't forget, be a bunny, herd some sheep. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you've got to go to the Truth is Viral on Facebook. It was a really interesting video that I came across today. Okay, where is it? Oh yeah, if you've got Facebook Messenger, you've got a hot mic. Yeah, we're gonna have to check that out. Okay, I can't find it, and I'm not going to bore you with dead air. You can go to Bob Powell or Facebook.com/TheTruthIsViral and find it. It's a long list. I mean, it's a long list. 185 separate terrorist attacks. We're talking about places like movie theaters, bars, discotheques, places where innocent civilians were. That is why Nelson Mandela went to prison for 30 years. And while he was in prison, he was offered amnesty twice. Once by the last white president of South Africa, P.W. Botha. The only condition for his unconditional release, well, there was one condition, and that was that he renounced violence. That's something Nelson Mandela never did. Up until 2008, when Barack Obama took office, Nelson Mandela was still on the State Department's list of terrorists. He was on the terrorist watch list. Up until 2006, even Amnesty International did not recognize Nelson Mandela as a prisoner of conscience. If you didn't live through the days of the African National Congress, if you weren't alive to watch the news coverage on TV, you don't know anything at all about Nelson Mandela. Even Fox News is kissing his ass. Like he's the greatest thing since buttered toast. Well, I've got news for you. The man is a murderer. He's a terrorist. Do you know, let's see, let me find this here real quick. Nelson Mandela, here we go. Yeah, you're going to like this picture. Oh yeah, there's Nelson Mandela. Check him out. Don't you just love that communist flag? Oh yeah. Oh, his wife Winnie sure is a real winner too. Winnie the winner. She was so radical, even Nelson Mandela didn't want anything to do with her. Oh, she was just something else. I'm here to tell you, folks. She was a murderess. That was one reason why you don't hear her name anymore. She killed a young man. I can't remember his name. But, yeah. This is why programs like The Truth is Viral and other shows are so important, because we tell you the truth. The news that you're not getting from the mainstream media. Because if you were to watch only mainstream media coverage of Nelson Mandela, you wouldn't know that Margaret Thatcher called him a terrorist. You wouldn't know any of this. They're holding him out to be some kind of a hero, when in fact he is an unrepentant murderer, a terrorist. Killed innocent people. That's why he was in jail for 30 years. But the country was about to be torn apart. I mean, literally torn apart. They were this far from just full-on civil war. And so Nelson Mandela was released, and wasn't very long after that he became the president of South Africa. And here's the genius of what he did. He organized what they called the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, where people, black and white, would come forward and confess their crimes and get off scot-free. Well, and obviously, you know, there were atrocities committed on both sides of the South African conflict. So, you know, that turned out to be a really good deal, especially for Nelson Mandela. Because now he could become the president of South Africa, and nobody's ever going to come back on him with charges of murder, terrorism, or anything else. So yeah, if you think that Nelson Mandela is a good guy, then you got another thing coming. But I kind of digressed there into something else, because we were talking about Obama and Christmas. Now, you know that Barack Obama wants everybody to think that he's a Muslim, right? He's not. He's Luciferian. But he wants people to think that. Now, in Islam, there is nothing dirtier than a dog. Okay? Well, what do you think the White House Christmas card looks like? It looks like that. It's a picture of the first dog, Bo the first dog, sitting in front of a fireplace. There's not a Christmas tree to be found. There are no pictures of Jesus. Let's put a dog in front of the fireplace. A Muslim sees this Christmas card. Instead of the baby Jesus, they see a dog, and they know exactly what Barack Obama is saying. He's pissing on Christmas. I mean, this is all over. Let's go back to this article by Todd Starnes and just look at the recent posts, the related posts on the side. Okay, we've got Obama's Christmas message is universal, no matter what God you pray to. Georgia school confiscates Christmas cards. There were a couple of others there earlier. I guess they got bumped out of the recent post part. But the Georgia school confiscates Christmas cards? What is this? Come on, give me a break. Yeah, Georgia school confiscates Christmas cards. It says, for as long as anybody can remember, teachers at Brooklet Elementary School have posted Christmas cards in the hallways outside their classrooms until Monday. When boys and girls returned from Thanksgiving break, they discovered that their teachers' Christmas cards had been removed under orders from Georgia's school administration. Rob Kicklighter's wife is a third-grade teacher at the school. He said many teachers are disgruntled by the school's decision to confiscate the Christmas cards. They took the cards down so the kids can't see them. Some of the cards had the word Christmas. Some had nativity scenes. Kicklighter said the cards were put behind an office door so only teachers could access them. It's really sad, he said, because the students look forward to seeing those homemade Christmas cards every year. It stirred a lot of conversation. This has been a tradition, and the kids are wondering what happened to the cards. The Christmas card censorship comes as the Bullock Bureau of Education cracks down on religious expression in their schools. Teachers have been ordered to remove any religious icons or items from their classrooms, ranging from Bibles to Christian music. Teachers have also been instructed to avoid student-led prayers at all costs. Should they be in a room where students are praying, teachers have been ordered to turn their backs on the students. It's an attack on Christianity, Kicklighter said. It seems every time we turn around, someone is offended. Hundreds of outraged residents have joined a Facebook page to protest the crackdown, and many are vowing to attend a school board meeting on Thursday to let school officials have a piece of their mind. Let me tell you something about the guarantee of separation of church and state. That does not guarantee you that you won't be offended. It only guarantees that there will not be a state religion like they've got in England, the Church of England. Okay, nobody's forcing you to pray. If you want to get offended on somebody else's dime. Get offended at Barack Obama, who's spending your tax dollars to supply terrorists in Syria that are wiping out entire Christian villages, crucifying them, tearing the limbs off of little girls, and forcing them to watch as their parents are beheaded. Why don't you get offended at that?
Yeah, I get a little bit upset at this manufactured outrage. The left gets all bent out of shape over the littlest tiny thing. Just the other day, a snowball fight at a college out west resulted in charges. I mean, come on. Grow a pair of balls, will ya? Quit being so butthurt over the littlest things and ignoring the things that really matter, where people are being killed because your president, Barack Hussein Obama, likes to support terrorists. Don't forget to subscribe to the Truth is Viral secondary channel at youtube.com/user/thetruithisviral. We'll be adding more features on that channel there. And like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and please share the show everywhere you go. The only way we're going to get the truth really viral is for you to do it. I can sit here and flap my gums all day long, but nobody's ever going to hear it unless you help me share the truth. Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell, and as always, God bless. Semper Fi and hoorah. I almost had a blooper there. It's kind of slippery. This magnificent desolation. Just check this out.
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter at The Truth is Viral. Like The Truth is Viral on Facebook, and if you can, please remember to donate to the cause via PayPal at www.bobpowell.blogspot.com.
Back runner, your game is